Welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name's Hussein. I hope you're having a good day. And I have a friend, his name is Sam, and he is a great fan of Sam Shmoon, David Wood, and especially Christian Prince. And he ministers a lot to Muslims. And he's originally from South Korea, and he has done a lot of programs about Islam in Korean, because there's a big movement in Korea by the Muslims as they've been going there for job opportunities as well. There's also been, like in Europe and in the United States, this emphasis on Islamicization. So he wrote this tract, and I thought it's a very nice tract, very attractive tract, and it seems like it's a very well documented. It's very simple. Dear Muslim friend, may I ask you some questions? And then on the bottom, it says 10 powerful questions you can ask Muslims. Okay. And so you open it, and you can see it's glossy, 4 pages, and then this. And yes, he does have my picture at the bottom there, and Father Zechariah's. So anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and tell you what these 10 questions are, because I think they're, I've been using this. His name is Sam Yu. And he's a pastor, and he's been ministering in Korea, ministering here in America as well. And he's got a great desire to reach Muslims, and he's written several books as well. I have copies of them. I think I may have showed you some of them before. But what I was really interested in today is about this tract, because it's a really good tool to give to Muslims, because it just asks questions and then it answers the questions. And so, for instance, let me give you an example. Women. Does Islam respect women? And that's question number 1. And then the subheading says, the Quran and the Hadith permit men to beat their wives. Okay, you read this in Quran chapter 434, Pickthall version. Men are in charge of women. As for those from whom you fear rebellion, admonish them, banish them to beds apart, and scourge them. Then it has the Arabic word, udrubuhunne. Udrubuhunne. And the word udrubuhunne is a very, I call it elastic, because udrubuhunne, it could be anything from a little shove, little slap, to a, hitting them with a car, or a punch, or just, it means to hit, like the word hit. Hit could be, you hit me, to punch you in the nose, and that's also a hit. And the same way, udrub is the same kind of a word. And if anybody wants some guidelines from the Hadith about how much a man is allowed to beat his wife, there is a story of a woman who came to Muhammad, and she was beaten so green, so much that her skin was as green as her dress. That's what Aisha said. Her skin was as green as her dress. Well, and did Muhammad stand up and say, hey, dude, you're not allowed to do that, and that's wrong, and that's not true Islam? No. He rebuked the woman and sent her back to her husband. And so, in other words, that's Muhammad's standard. If you want Muhammad's standard about beating the wife. That's his standard. And he also beat his wife. So he beat Aisha. So anyway, but my friend Sam here, he also has some other translations for the word udrubuhunne, and that's from Sahih International. One says strike, one says beat. The Hilali Khan says beat. So, and then there's a hadith here. He also had, see, he's got this all very, very simply, very clearly put there, so it's very easy to get it. It says, Sunan Abi Dawood says, when Omar came to the messenger and said, women have become emboldened towards their husbands, then he, the prophet, gave permission to beat them. So anyway, that's question number one. Is Islam a religion of women, women's rights? Okay, number two, Muhammad. Is Muhammad the best of mankind? And then our friend has put together some indications that, bring this up into question. Number one is the verse about when Muhammad married his son's wife. He married his son's wife. His son was Zayd, and his wife's name was Zainab. And so Muhammad went to their house, spoke, and then his son divorced her so he could marry her. So he married his daughter-in-law. So this is from Sahih International. And remember when you said to one on whom Allah bestowed favor, and you bestowed favor, keep your wife and fear Allah. That's what Muhammad said to Zayd. When Zayd said, do you want me to divorce her for you, Dad? And he said, keep your wife and fear Allah. But Allah is telling him, when you did that, you concealed within yourself that which Allah is to disclose, and you feared people while Allah has more right that you fear him. So when Zayd had no longer need for her, we married her to you. So is this the best of mankind? And then a history of At-Tabari, the victory of Islam, it says, the messenger came to the house of Zayd, his son, and Zainab rose to meet him because she was dressed only in a shift, very scantily clad. The messenger turned away from her. She said, he is not here, O messenger. Come in. The messenger refused to enter. Zainab jumped up in haste and excited the admiration of the messenger. And he said, glory be to the Almighty who turns the hearts. So this is what he's saying about his daughter-in-law. Okay. Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6 years old. Okay, this is Sahih Bukhari 5. Excuse me, you guys. 5:134. It's also in Sahih Muslim 1422. And it says the Prophet married her when she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage with her when she was 9. So, there you have two indications of his character. They say he's the best of all mankind. I don't think most of mankind does that. I don't think most of mankind marry their daughter-in-law and marry a 6-year-old girl when they're 51 years old. Muhammad did. So how is he the best of mankind? Okay, about sex. Why is prostitution permitted in Islam? The Quran says, do mut'ah, that's pleasure marriage. Muhammad says, do mut'ah. Mut'ah is prostitution. Mut'ah, you guys, is a pleasure marriage. This is a marriage that can last 3 hours, can last 45 minutes, could last 3 weeks, could last 3 days, could last 3 months. It's a temporary marriage. It's called mut'ah. Mut'ah is the Arabic word for pleasure, and it means pleasure marriage. And I do know Muslim women who've left Islam because of this verse. It's 424. It says, so whatever you enjoy, now he's got the Sahih International version. So whatever you enjoy of marriage, excuse me, you guys, sorry, from them, give them their due compensation as an obligation. And there's no blame on you for what you mutually agreed to be beyond the obligation. So, if you agreed to marry her for 3 weeks, give her money, pay her for all the sex you had. That's called prostitution. So, Bukhari says in 5119, Allah's messenger said, if a man and a woman agree to a temporary marriage, their marriage should only last for 3 nights. It's a 3-night marriage, you guys. 3-night marriage. And if they like to continue, they can do so. And if they want to separate, they can do so. So this is, you guys, this is not just some crazy hadith or some crazy fatwa. This is Quran and Sahih al-Bukhari, the number 1 and number 2 books of Islam. Okay. Number 4, are men permitted to rape their female war captives? Number 4, according to Quran 424, it says, also prohibited to you are all married women except those your right hand possess. This is the decree of Allah. And right before this, it says, inkahu mataba lakum, commit nikah on those that are, available to you. And it says that these, you're not allowed to have sex with married women unless they're your war captives. And this is in the Quran, you guys, 424. So this one, even Sahih International, which tends to whitewash a lot of the language of the Quran, even they admit that that's what it means. Okay. Then you have Sunan Abi Dawud. It says, regarding intercourse with captives, Abu Sayyid al-Khudri said, Allah's apostles sent a military expedition to Autas on the occasion of the Battle of Hunain. They met their enemy and fought with them. They defeated them and took captives. Some of the companions said, we are reluctant to have sexual relations with the female captives because of their husbands. So Allah the Exalted sent down the Quranic verse, all married women are forbidden to you except the captives, whom your right hand possess. And that's a whole nother topic, which is slavery in Islam. It is in the Quran. It's encouraged, and Muhammad did it. So this is to say that they are lawful for them when they are complete their waiting period. So the waiting period may be 2 months, 3 months. I don't think these guys want to wait 3 months though. I don't think these guys waited 3 months. All right. And then there's a whole topic of coitus interruptus, and we won't get into that one either, but Muhammad said that's not necessary, because those that Allah wants to create, they're gonna come about. So you don't have to do coitus interruptus with these married women. Okay. Peace. Is Islam a religion of peace? This is question number 5 now. Allah commands Muslims to fight against the disbelievers. Quran 9:29 does not say fight those who attack you first. That's only on CNN. That's only on CNN and MSNBC. But the real Quran says, it says fight against those who do not believe in Allah and the last day. So 929, Muhsin Khan. Fight against those who, number 1, believe not in Allah, number 2, nor in the last day, number 3, nor forbid that which has been forbidden by Allah and his messenger, and those who acknowledge not the religion of truth, Islam, among the peoples of the scripture, Jews and Christians, until they pay the jizya, that's the money, with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. So Christians and Jews are given two options, whereas others are just given one: convert to Islam or die. But with Christians and Jews, they can convert to Islam or they can pay money, pay a bribe. I mean, a jizya. And you pay this tax. And I've heard Muslims say, well, in America, I pay taxes. It's the same thing. You're just paying a tax. But the difference is that in America, everybody pays taxes, including the Americans. So when you come to America to live here and you pay taxes, you're doing what Americans are already doing. But the jizya is, Muslims don't pay jizya. Muslims only receive jizya. That's only for the Jews and Christians to pay. Okay? It says, the apostle said, I have been ordered to fight the people until they say, no one has the right to be worshipped but Allah. And if they say so and pray like our prayers, face the Qibla, slaughter like we slaughter, then their blood and property will be safe from me. Well, in Arabic, asamu dima'hum wa malhum. They save their money and their life from me. Muhammad said that. So hey, you guys, if you're following Muhammad, if you're a Muslim, you should leave Islam because of this stuff. How can you follow someone who says to do this to Jews and Christians? I'm sure a lot of the Muslims you have Jews and Christians as friends. You know, the Quran, first of all, tells you you're not supposed to do that. But this is what Muhammad said: fight them until they become Muslims. Okay? And if they don't, then those people of the book, Jews and Christians, have to pay you money, pay you with the jizya for protection from Muhammad or Muhammad's teaching. Okay? Then the Quran says, whoever changes his religion, kill him. This is Sunan al-Nisa'i 40:59. Okay. So is Islam a religion of peace? You decide. Quran is perfectly preserved. This is another number 6 question. The Quran is perfectly preserved. But, you know, Uthman burned the Quran. Uthman, the third caliph, burned the Quran. Sure, he was killed for it, but he did it. And the Quran that Muslims have today, they claim is Uthman's Quran. Okay, it's not Muhammad's Quran. It's not Abu Bakr's Quran. It's Uthman's Quran, supposedly. But it's not really Uthman's Quran because Uthman's Quran didn't have diacritical marks or vowels on it. And so when they came around to putting diacritical marks and vowels, what happened is that they ended up with a bunch of different Qurans, and that's what they have today. And so today, you know, I know Hatun Tash has like 37 different Arabic Qurans, among them Hafs, that's the number 1, Warsh, Susi, Duri, Kalun, Khalaf, Bazi, Ibn Kathir, Jalalain, and those Ibn Kathir and Jalalain are not the commentaries. These are Qur'ans, and so many more. So you know, is the Quran perfectly preserved? Come on. Muslims say there's one perfect Quran from the time of Muhammad. This is a big lie. There is no original Quran that Muhammad received from Allah. Uthman burned it. And then he has the hadith, which is Bukhari 4987. It says that the people of Armenia and Azerbaijan, they were waging war to conquer Armenia and Azerbaijan. And Hudhayfa was afraid that their people of the Sham and Iraq, this is Syria and Iraq, that differences in recitation of the Quran. And he said to Uthman, O chief of the believers, save this nation before they differ about the Quran as Jews and Christians did before. So Uthman sent a message to Hafsa, this is Muhammad's widow, send us the manuscripts of the Quran so that we may compile the Quranic materials in perfect copies and return the manuscripts to you. So they did not have a Quran yet. There was no Quran yet. And this is after Muhammad had already been dead by over 20 years. So Uthman sent the message, okay. Hafsa sent it to Uthman. Uthman then ordered Zayd bin Thabit, Abdullah bin Zubair, Sayyid al-As, and Abdurrahman bin Haritha bin Hisham to rewrite the manuscripts in perfect copies. Uthman said to the three Qurayshi men, if you disagree with Zayd bin Thabit on any point, then just write it in the dialect of Quraysh, because the Quran was written in that tongue. So he's telling them, change the Quran. If you disagree with something, just change the Quran. This is Sahih Hadith. Muslims, they lied to you. They lied to me too. I was a Muslim. They told me there's only one Quran and it's perfect. They lied to us. There's a bunch of different Qurans, a bunch of different Arabic Qurans. That doesn't even touch the subject of translations. When you got hundreds of different English translations, Sahih International, Pixel, and all the different clear Quran, hundreds of them, and they're all different. Every single one of them is different. Okay, that's the English, but we're talking about the Arabic, the original Arabic. There's so many different ones. Okay, Uthman returned the original manuscripts to Hafsa. Uthman sent to every Muslim province one copy of what they had copied and ordered that all other Quranic materials, whether written in fragmentary manuscript or whole, to be burned. He burned the original, whatever Quran people had, he burned. But there were some people who did not give him their Quran, including Abdullah bin Mas'ud, Ubay bin Ka'b. Okay, so there's a bunch of different Qurans, you guys. So anyway, that's a question to ask him. And because there were different Qurans at that time. Yes, there's many different Qurans, yes. And, he wanted there to be one Quran because, that's the myth. That's what and even the Quran says it. Chapter 15, verse 9, we sent down the Quran and we preserve it. But what happened is there were so many different ones, Hafsa had one. If you look at the Islamic Encyclopedia in Cairo, that was commanded to be written by Jamal Abdel Nasser. It's called the Islamic Encyclopedia. It says there were 31 different Qurans. All the wives of Muhammad had one. Hafsa had one. Zainab had one. Rehana had one. All of them. They all had their own Quran. All of the companions had one. Abdullah bin Mas'ud, Ubay bin Ka'b. Okay. All of them had their own Qurans. And then, so they had like 31, at least 31 different Qurans at that time. And then, according to this hadith, the third caliph, Uthman, he said, okay, we need to burn. Yes, I know that Hatun Tash has collected 37 different Arabic Qurans. That doesn't include the hundreds of other ones. So they have so many different Qurans. But I know this is one of the questions to ask is there one Quran perfectly preserved? And then they're going to come back and say, no, there's only one Quran. No matter what you say, they're always going to tell you, no, there's only one Quran. There's only one Quran. It's impossible. There's only one. And he said, but what about these different words? So no, there's only one Quran. They're exactly the same. No matter what you tell them, they're going to say that, And so, okay. In fact, that's the original reason. That's the original reason for this.
That the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.
That's why he said the standard narrative. And the standard narrative says there's only one Quran perfectly preserved. And Muhammad Hijab had a piece of paper in his hand. He said, if I asked you to write the Quran, are you going to write? What are you going to write? He said, that's not an easy question. And he says, you're not supposed to ask this in front of other people because we've been lying to them. You're not supposed to ask these questions in front of people because we've been lying to them. Okay. And, and I was one of the ones that they lied to because they told me that too. They told me, hey, the Jews changed their book, the Christians changed their books, but nobody can change the Quran because Allah himself preserves it. Well, then you come up and discover all of these different Qurans. And it's not just that they're different. They have different words in them with different meanings in them. Different words with different meanings. And we've done many episodes about that, and we'll do more. Okay. Where does the Quran say the Bible is corrupted? Nowhere. The Quran says the Bible is corrupted. Confirm what is with them. Notice here, confirming what is with them. The Quran, okay, let's read chapter 291. What it is said to them, when it is said to them, believe in Allah, and what he has sent down, they say, we believe in what was sent down to us, yet they reject all besides, even if the Torah, even if it be the truth, confirming what is with them. Now the word is in Arabic, musaddiqan lima ma'hum, musaddiqan. That means affirming, believing. Actually, the word saddiq means to believe, okay, to have faith in. That's where you get the word Melchizedek. Sadiq means faithful, faith, okay. Allah revealed the Torah and Gospel. No one can change Allah's words, according to Quran 8:27. Muhammad believed in the Torah, Sunan Abi Dawud 4449. There's actually a story where they brought a Jewish man and this woman and to Muhammad and said, hey, what should we do with them? They committed adultery. Muhammad said, bring the Torah. And so they brought the Torah, and Muhammad looked at the Torah and he said, I believe in you and the one that sent you. So Muhammad believed in the Torah. Muslims don't today, but Muhammad did. So they don't follow Muhammad. They don't believe what the Quran says, because the Quran says nobody can change Allah's words. Nobody can change Allah's word, but they don't believe it. Muslims don't believe it. They believe what they were told on TV instead. They believe what they were told in kindergarten. And in kindergarten, and I know this because I was in kindergarten in the Middle East, they tell us, hey, the Bible's been changed, even though the Quran doesn't say it. Okay. All right. Question number 8. Can Allah be God? Allah is, number one, he's not all-knowing. Allah says the Christians worship Mary as a god. This is false. No Christian worships Mary as a god. Okay, that's in Quran 5:116 says, and when Allah saith, O Jesus, son of Mary, did you say to mankind, take me and my mother for two gods besides Allah? No Christian does that. There's never been a Christian who says Mary is a god. Okay. And but the Quran very clearly says that they are gods, that Christians say they are gods. In Arabic, the word is ilahin. Ilahin means two gods. You and your mother as ilahin, two gods besides Allah. Okay. So Muhammad didn't understand the Trinity. And so that's why he put that in the Quran like that. Number 2, that proves that he's not all-knowing, whereas the God of the Bible is all-knowing. Okay. Now, Allah is not holy. It says, if you do not commit sin, it angers Allah. This surely can't be God. Read Sahih Muslim. Abu Hurairah said, Allah's messenger said, by him in whose hand is my life, if you were not to commit sin, Allah would sweep you out of existence and would replace you by those people who would commit sin and seek forgiveness, and he would pardon them. So Allah wants people to sin because that way he gets to forgive them. And so he says, if you don't sin, Allah will wipe you out and bring people who will sin so he can forgive you. That's not what the true God does. That's not what the true God does. The true God hates sin. He loves the sinner. He hates sin. He hates it so much, he had to send his only son, Jesus, to die on the cross to forgive sin. That's how much God hates sin. But Allah likes sin because he says he wants people to sin. Okay? And then if you read Quran 354, it says that Allah is the best of deceivers. Okay? It says, Huwa khair al-makirin. Khair al-makirin. That's Quran 354. It's also, I believe, in 699 and someplace else too. It's 3 times the Quran calls him the deceiver, Makir, Khair al-Makirin. And I know what they do when they translate, when CNN Qur'an. They're going to say, oh, it doesn't mean that. It means he's a planner. No, ask any Arab, honest Arabic who speaks Arabic. They're going to tell you Makir does not mean planner. Planner is mukhattit. Mukhattit. Khattit is to plan. Khattit is to plan. Mukhattit is the planner. It's not makir. Makir is deceiver. So that's the Quran says that's Allah did that. And his biggest act of deception, according to the Quran, is that he made somebody look like Jesus when they came to crucify Jesus. Allah made somebody else look like him, and that person was crucified in Jesus's place. And thereby, Allah, according to Islam, created Christianity because all the Christians believe he died on the cross. Well, according to Islam, we're only believing that because Allah deceived us. Khair makirin, the best of deceivers. And if you're a Muslim, this is who you're serving. Okay, this is what your Quran says. Go read it. 354 it says, Makaru makar Allah wa Allah khair makirin. They deceived, Allah deceived, and Allah's the best of deceivers. Makar does not mean plan. It means deceive. Okay. The Quran says, is the Quran consistent with science? It's number 9. The Quran says the sun sets in murky water. Does the sun set in murky water? Is that what scientists say? Quran 18:84 to 86, and also Sunan Abi Dawud 4002. Lo, we made him strong in the land, and gave him unto everything a road. Okay. And he followed the road until he reached the setting place of the sun. He found it setting in a muddy spring and found people thereabout. This is Dhul Qarnayn. This is supposedly Alexander the Great. And he came to the place where the sun sets. It sets inside a muddy pool. And it says, inside the muddy pool, Mat Hamia, Maya, Ain Hamia. Ain, it's like a spring of water. And so he saw the sun go into that spring of water. And a lot of Zakir Naik and all that. Zakir Naik says the Arabic word for found, he found the setting place of the sun. The Arabic word is wajada. Wajada means found. Okay, but Zakir Naik says wajada means it appeared. No, it doesn't mean that. Zakir Naik is being dishonest. It does not mean it appeared. It means he found the sun setting in a muddy pool. Okay, and so Zakir Naik, it appeared would be dhahara. It appeared to him. Dhahar lahu. It appeared to him, but that's not what it says. It says wajada. In fact, that word wajada is used a second time in that verse because it says that he found people around that place. And the same verb is used, wujid, which comes from the word wajada. Okay. So is the Quran science dependable? Well, if the sun sets inside a swimming pool, then yes, the Quran is dependable. Okay. Another thing, a baby is made from the backbone and the woman's ribs. There's hadith that talk about that the semen proceeds from the backbone of the man and from the woman's chest. Okay, the ribs. It says in Quran 86:5-6, He is created from a gushing fluid emerging from between the backbone of a man and the ribs of the woman. So both of them supposedly have semen, gushing fluid, and that gushing fluid mixes and creates babies, according to the Quran. This reminds me, there was one time where I had this friend who was, it's years ago, he's like a cousin or something. And I was talking to him, when I was a teenager, I was asking him, about how babies are made and stuff. And he says, yeah, the sperm is in the backbone. It's in the back. It comes from your back. And I never forgot that. And I always wondered, well, really? I never heard it came from your back. But it's in the Quran. The Quran says that. So, and then you have the tafsir by Ibn Kathir. It says, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs, meaning the backbone of the man and the ribs of the woman, which is referring to her chest. So, and we could talk a lot more about this fluid because I'm not going to talk it. Okay. Anyway, you can that's Quranic science for you. All right. And number 10, heaven is the main thing. What is the main thing men will do in heaven? Okay. What will Muslims do in heaven? Muslims will make love forever in heaven. Men will forever deflower their women. Quran 5:56. This Quran again, you guys, says, wherein both will be those maidens restraining their glances upon their husbands, whom no man or jinn yathunha have opened their hymen, is what that means, meaning that they are virgins. Okay, so for eternity, this is what men are going to be doing. This is what the Muslim heaven is. It's about having sex. And there's a lot of different kinds of sex that happen up there. Okay. Sunan Tirmidhi says, the Prophet was heard saying, the smallest reward for the people of paradise is an abode where there are 80,000 servants. And these servants, you guys, are little boys who don't bleed. Okay. This is Quran 56, verse 17, if you want to look it up. And 72 wives. If you're a Muslim, please leave Islam today. Please leave Islam today. Don't follow this religion. This is literally what it says. 80,000 servants. These are little boys. So there's slavery and prostitution, slavery in Islamic heaven. These women, they're going to be having sex with these women. These women are made just to have sex. They're women. They're real women, but they're made just to have sex. Isn't that kind of a slavery? Now, is that women's rights? Even in paradise, women are mistreated. Okay. All right. And so then Brother Sam says, my prayer are for those who follow Islam. I hold the belief that Islam is not the true path. Turn away from Islam. Turn away from Muhammad. Instead, place your faith in Jesus Christ, who was crucified for our sins. Jesus is holy. Only he is without sin. Only Jesus can lead you to eternal paradise. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. So anyway, that's my friend's tract. 10 great questions you can ask a Muslim. Great. And each one of those, you guys, kind of opens the doors to talk to the Muslim about different topics. Yeah, Sozo is saying, don't forget the drowning of the Qur'ans in the Nile. Yes. In Egypt, they had, I think, around 31 different Qur'ans. What happened is that they did a big test, like they do the SAT, the test, they do every year at school in Egypt. And they found that the kids they were doing good on math. They were doing good on the, Arabic and even English, and they're learning, and everything was great, except for when it came to Quran, because every single province had different answers when they asked them about the Quran. They figured, what's going on here? And they saw that there were so many different Qurans. There were so many different Qurans. That's why in each province, Al-Minya, Al-Qahira, Iskandariya, all these different areas, Suez, all these different areas had different Qurans. And so what they did is they collected all the Qurans, dumped them in the Nile River, and they chose one of them to be the representative Quran, which is the one that they have today, called Al-Hafs, Hafs Quran. And Hafs ibn Asim. Hafs, you guys, the guy was known as a thief. He was known as unreliable in hadith. He was known to be a liar. And yet, when it came to the Quran that they were going to choose, they chose his Quran. They say, okay, maybe he's unfaithful with the hadith, but he's great with Quran. It's like saying you can't trust him to babysit, 12-year-old girls, but you can trust him to babysit 5-year-old girls, and, if you compare, because it's kind of a reverse logic, the hadith are less important than the Quran. The hadith are less important than the Quran. Okay, the Quran is the highest. Well, he was unfaithful with the hadith. He lied about the hadith. He misquoted hadith. He was very weak and unreliable, undependable when it came to hadith. But when he wrote the Quran, you think he's going to be right? It doesn't make sense. But that's what they said. And they decided to keep the Hafs, and Saudi Arabia agreed as well. And so that's why today the number one Quran, probably 95% of the people in the world read the Hafs Quran, but there's still another 5%. They read others, and including Algeria, Morocco, they don't even allow the Hafs. They have the Warsh. They like the Warsh. Libya has one called the Qalun. Somalia and Sudan, they have one called Al-Susi and Al-Duri. Okay, so you got all these different Qurans all over the place. And these are all Arabic, but they're all different. And so, but yeah, so the extra ones, they just threw them in the river. So, yeah, Muslims leave Islam. They lied to us. Muslims leave Islam. They lied to us. Thank you, Andrew Martin. 10 powerful questions you asked a Muslim about the Quran. Amen. Here it is on Amazon. You can go get it there. So thank you to Brother Sam for your hard work. And he has a real great heart for the Muslims. I tell you guys, you know what? One thing I heard once is that the move of God for redemption began in Jerusalem. It began in Jerusalem. From Jerusalem, it moved, because Israel rejected it, it moved westward. And its greatest fruitfulness was in the West, in Europe. And so that's where the gospel train rested, was in Europe for hundreds of years. And then it kept moving west to the United States, and it established the United States and became the number one evangelical lighthouse in the world, is the United States. So the glory kept moving west. And the United States, we're kind of messing up a little bit today, but you know what? It kept moving west. It went as far west as Korea. And they are now the ones who are holding the torch of the gospel in the world. And Korea and then China, they are holding the gospel torch. And they have a dream to do what? To take it all the way back to Jerusalem. And they are doing that. It's an awesome movement in China. I was in Hong Kong about 10 years ago. I was at a conference, and that's one thing. They have all these songs about back to Jerusalem. They want to take the gospel back to Jerusalem. And the great thing is they want to preach to every single country between China and Jerusalem, which includes all the Stan countries, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, all of them. Those are between China and Jerusalem. And they're going to preach to all those countries, India, Bangladesh. And so, anyway, so the gospel's always been moving westward. And so anyway, but that to say that the Koreans, they've really been holding the torch of the gospel. And when you have Koreans who come to America, they have the torch of the gospel. They're not bringing Buddhism. They're not bringing Krishna. They do that too. There's some that do that too, but the majority are bringing the gospel. They're going to churches, setting churches on fire. Praise God for the Koreans. And God, it's their time right now, and they hold that torch and they're taking it, and they're even blessing America, and Europe. So praise the Lord for the Koreans and the way the Lord's using them these days. So, all right, you guys. Well, if you haven't done it, do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. We love you, but much more importantly, he loves you. Have a great night.
If you have ever wondered why dull apologists lie so much, it's because on a rare occasion that they tell the truth. This happens.
One of the reasons I accepted Islam was the scientific miracles. I'll be honest with you. And now we know that this whole scientific miracles was absolute nonsense.
You're going to have to repeat that.
That the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.